to the Leo Training Podcast with Joe DeLeo. You'll hear in-depth interviews and tips from world-class athletes, coaches, and industry-leading experts to help you train smarter and improve at what you love to do. Train smarter, get stronger, move better, race faster. Here's your host, Joe DeLeo.
Hi everyone, this is Joe DeLeo, and we are back with episode 15 of the Leo Training Podcast. Today's guest is my good friend, Jen Meehan. Jen and I met at my Strong First Level 1 certification in August 2015. She was one of the assistant instructors who was part of Team Summers. Jen was also the first instructor I reached out to who helped me prepare for the Strong First Bodyweight certification that I recently attended. She has helped me a ton in my training and preparation. So a very big thank you to Jen. Now this episode is the first of a 3-part mini-series I am doing in honor of Mother's Day. Jen is my first guest, so let me take a moment to tell you a little bit more about her. Jen is passionate about helping her clients achieve their goals and works with clients of all levels to improve their strength and move better. She encourages her students to train with purpose and to train for life. In 2009, Jen earned her RKC Level 1 instructor certification and became a certified kettlebell functional movement specialist in 2010. She was an assistant team leader at RKC Level 1 in May 2012. In September 2013, Jen attended Strong First Level 2 in Philadelphia and earned both her Level 1 and Level 2 certifications. Jen is also a certified youth fitness specialist and is committed to continuing education by attending workshops and training for certifications. Jen assisted at the SFG Level 1 in Boston in August of 2015, in which she became the 9th woman to accomplish the Iron Maiden. For those that don't know, the Iron Maiden is a title given to a woman who accomplishes the feat of doing a strict military press, pistol squat, and tactical pull-up, all with a 24-kilogram kettlebell. Jen is also a Strong First bodyweight instructor. In addition to her certifications, Jen is a former Division I cross-country and track athlete and has her master's degree in elementary education. She volunteers her time to St. Mary's Catholic School by coaching the cross-country team. Jen is also a busy mom of 3 wonderful kids. Now let's roll to episode 15, Training for Life with Jen Meehan. Jen Meehan, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on. It's great to have you.
Thank you, Joe. My name is Jen Meehan, and I'm going to give you a little bit of info on how I got into helping others in the industry, in the strength industry and fitness. I started my journey basically, I ran high school track and cross country and ended up getting a scholarship to a Division I school and running cross country and track and field there. I earned my master's degree in elementary education and always had, obviously, loved physical activity and wanted to keep it part of my life. So I continued doing a lot of running, and that was the only thing that I did. I ran twice a day, maybe, every day, and it did catch up with me, the only running portion of my life. I was training for a marathon, and 2 weeks out, I was running and basically couldn't feel my leg when I was running. I was like, well, that's okay. It's got to be something. It'll warm up. And I knew something was wrong when I basically just stopped. And that was really the turning point of how I got to where I am right now. I had a herniated disc and, could not, it took me probably close to 3 months to be able to, walk around without pain. I was told by the orthopedic doctor that I would, he said, no more running again. You have a herniated disc. It's, I opted not to have surgery because they said, it may or may not fix it. So I didn't want to take that chance. And, so I rehabbed it and, was kind of lost for a long time, because running was the only thing I knew. It was my outlet. It was, at the time, as what defined me. when, it'd be Jen Murphy, Meehan, the runner. So for me to let go was a huge part of my life. So I did. It was a tough journey. And went through physical therapy, and they tell you, okay, go ahead and, get your core strong. Well, I couldn't. I'm like, okay, well, all right. So, and I did have my PT background at the time, personal training background. And I was like, okay, well, crunches, I can't even, the typical crunches I can't even do because it was hurting my back, flexion, extension, all that stuff. So my friend Kate Lavanga, who is also a fellow SFG and my business partner, for Alexandria Kettlebell, she said, this is a funny story. She said, hey, my neighbor, Karen, which is Karen Smith, who is obviously a big, she's a SFG, in our industry. And, Kate said, my neighbors showed me this thing called the Turkish Get-Up. And I was like, what is that? I've never heard of the Turkish Get-Up, I'm like, is it a costume? What are you talking about? And, she's like, no, this thing called kettlebells. And I said, oh my gosh. So I looked up kettlebells and I was like, oh no, that thing is going to rip my back out. That was my first instinct. Chip on my shoulder about it. I was like, I'm never picking up one of those things. And, so Kate, actually convinced me to, go with her to see a certified trainer. I said, you know what, why not? Because everything I was doing was, still making me hurt, my back. It was still making me hurt. I was training around pain, training in pain. So I said, let's try it. Why not? So we ended up going to find a certified trainer in the area. And, I walked in with a chip on my shoulder about kettlebells. And I said, this thing's going to hurt my back. Like that was my, first thing. And, lo and behold, it, took me, I think probably like 3 weeks to finally admit that it was making me feel better. So I felt, it was like, I was so like stubborn about it. And I fell in love with it, ended up getting my, first certification in 2009. And have been on the journey with kettlebells ever since. So I, have gone through, I've gotten my Strong First Level 1, Level 2, SFB, the body weight, and just have enjoyed every step of the way. And I'm really, really passionate about it. And I love helping others. And I love when people come in to train with us and they have the same chip on their shoulder because I was there. I understand it. I've been through it. I've been through the pain of having back issues, and other issues I've gone through lately have really, really, really opened my eyes on how to help others in this journey. I'm on my own journey and I know other people are on their own as well. And if I can help them along the way, that's, I love it. It's the best part of my job. And doing it with, 3 kids, as well. I have to obviously be strong to keep up with them. And, that's my main goal is to be a good role model to them in hopes that they will, look up to me and add this stuff into their own journey at some point. So
that's awesome. And that's so cool that, you have that event in your own personal journey that you can relate to your students and clients with.
Right. Definitely. It was, I think it's huge because it puts me in the shoe. And sometimes like people come in, they're like, I have a back issue and I kind of give them my story so they're comfortable with it because, you do look at, I think, any type of training, physical training that you do is going to be, if you've had an injury, it's scary to, pick up a weight, even though, I tell everybody, we're training for life. We go to Costco every day and pick up, heavier things than the kettlebells that are in my garage, So, just making it relatable. I think that's the whole thing. I could give them every fancy word in the book, but if it's relatable to people, I think that's huge. Like, you just have to be relatable, and that's that's what I hope. What I'm striving to do for people that I work with is just, train for life. You want to run around with your kids, grandkids, be able to go out in the soccer field with, and coach, all sorts of stuff, be able to pick up stuff. I mean, who doesn't want to, I just tell them, who doesn't want to be strong? I mean,
yeah.
It's the best thing ever.
Yeah, it
right?
is. It's great.
So, why not? Just do it.
No, that's
right?
awesome. I love that. I love that phrase, training for life.
Yes.
And you make a great point. You talked about earlier, that stigma. You look at a kettlebell and it's like, oof, oh, this is going to hurt me. And
right.
It's funny. It's like you may have, whatever the weight is, people may be picking up items daily in their life that are heavier, but there's almost this reaction, and it's not just with kettlebells. It could be sort of any barbell, any type of weight. And there's almost a hesitation and fear associated with it, but it doesn't even register when they are thinking about picking up the garage door or picking up a giant bag of mulch or anything like that. So kind of showing that you're basically just replacing the item.
Right.
The weight's still there.
Yes, exactly. And I said, even we had a snowstorm here in DC recently. And I had so many of our clients come back to me and say, I have never felt so much better after shoveling 2 feet of snow than I have in my life. And that to me, I'm like, I did my job.
That's awesome.
Did my job. Everybody shoveled without pain, and it was training for life. So exactly, just making it relatable. I think if it's, we talk about like suitcase, deadlifts or walks, that's stuff we do every day, in life. And, we bend down, we pick things up, and I'm just trying to help them do it the right way so they don't hurt themselves and, can function. So that's what, I would want for myself, and I hope for others would want. So
that's awesome. It is it is the most rewarding feeling doing that for other people. Very cool. It is. So I got a question for you. So, based on kind of what you were sharing there, you really seem to have that turning point when you started working with that instructor, and I guess you starting to learn the get up and kind of incorporate that into your training and everything. So how did starting to work with kettlebells kind of help you turn the corner compared to what you were doing in physical therapy?
So basically when, physical therapy was great for a while. And then, they release you, and it is a scary world when you get released from physical therapy. I think it's kind of like you're in limbo. Because I, released from physical therapy. Now all I did was run. Now what do I do? Was the big question. Okay. What's going to help me function? Like move? What's going to help me move well? And I tried your typical boot camp classes, which, it wouldn't work for me. It might work for others. It just was not really working for me and my, injury that I had. And so I kind of just, got that kettlebell just got me to, I finally felt connected, especially with the get up, just even pieces of it, and realizing that this is stuff I do, in daily life, rolling over. I couldn't even roll over without pain until I started doing the get up and, without weight, learning how to get up off from the ground to my feet, in the right way. So just that rehab alone, and not doing 100 crunches, just learning how to get up and stand up, was huge. Obviously learning how to squat properly was huge. Deadlift, and I call it I had no glute awareness, glute amnesia going on. So kettlebells really, really helped me with that.
Nice.
You don't realize it until you actually realize you don't use the glutes, in your daily life. So, that forged, I started from the ground up and continue to this day, always work on that. I think, you see, I do not always have heavy weight in my hands at all. I'm wrapped up in bands left and right with my trainer and, most of the time. And I said, basically it's all working on my movement patterns. You have to work on the movement patterns in order to be efficient. So, that is where I am right now. And, it has been that journey from trying to get up off the floor in a get up and being humbled by not being able to roll over onto my elbow. So, from that to where I am now has been a huge journey, a learning experience. And that to me, when I have people come in that I train, and seeing where they are and where they are now, is phenomenal. I mean, it just, and you again, relatable. You make it, do you want to be able to get up out of bed? Yeah, I do. I'd love to get out of bed without pain. And so making it relatable, not saying it's the Turkish get up, because remember way back when Karen Smith was doing it in her kitchen with my partner, Kate, I was like, what is that? So, we talk about, and deadlift. Anytime we tell people to I'm like, we're just picking something up and putting it down. We're not, cause you say the word deadlift and they're like, oh, that's going to rip my back out. Well, let's pick something up and put it down. And boom, done. They can do it. I kind of have the same mentality too. I want to hear, like, if I hear, certain kilos on this, I'm like, but if I get up over the bar, bring it back down, I'm good to go. So, you have to make it relatable. That's my whole thing.
Yeah, it's amazing. Again, you change the context just a little bit. Yep. And it's like, well, you're going to need to pick up groceries. You're going to need to pick your kids up off the ground. Like, yeah, it's important to be able to do that, move well, and not be in pain.
Yes. Yep.
And so one of the other things that you said that I think is super critical, is that, the entire time that you've, been on your journey, it sounds like you've always, made moving well a priority. That's kind of been the foundational level.
Yes.
So can you speak to that a little bit, why that's important? And then, how that, if you don't have that underneath as the foundation, you're not really going to be able to layer on the mobility or the strength.
Right. It takes the foundational level, definitely. Being a runner, all I did was run and didn't realize the impact that it had on my body. Both good and bad. I didn't really have the foundational movement patterns that if I look back now, if I had worked on my movement patterns, I would have been a 10 times better runner than I was back in the day. And working on those movement patterns to this day, I'm constantly refining them. If you don't have the foundational movement patterns, it's that, you've got a flat tire. You're just going to, you're going to be running on a flat tire. That just doesn't make sense. Now it's hard though when you are training and you wanna, you have the typical like, well, and I've gone through this. Well, I want to swing that ball 100 times, or I want to press that weight. Well, if I'm not moving well, I'm going to have leaks everywhere and my body is just going to, break down. So, I've been there. I've gone through let me see how you compress. Well, that kind of hurts my back. Well, because I was not connected and not moving well. So I have spent my journey to this day going forward and then, I'm not moving well, taking a step back. So regress to progress, is the big thing, that I've learned. And on the journey, it's progression and then, okay, time to regress. And learning how to deal with that too is huge. Learning to be okay with, regressing. I think a lot of times we're trying to, and I said, we're always our own worst enemy is trying to, well, I have to get this done. I want to press this, or, I'm kind of feeling funky in the middle of my workout, but I'm just going to press through it. I've learned that is not the answer anymore. If you're, again, not, you don't have the foundation, you're not going to move well. And in the long run, if you look at it, down the road, when I'm 80 or 90, I want to be moving well. And hopefully, still doing what I'm doing, lifting some weights, but, in the the big picture, moving well is the most important thing, for everyone, in their daily living. So, again, I'm working on, it's not all, all the time you're not, put together. There may be something where you are, for 3 years, nothing going on, moving well, working on the foundation, and then all of a sudden you have a little something creep in. Well, you have to adjust and deal with it. You have to adjust and, figure out what you need to do to make it better. And it may take a while, which I just went through with a shoulder injury, and continue to do. I had to regress to progress, and that's what I'm doing right now. So, and it's humbling because you have to slow down after, after I did the Iron Maiden, I had a little shoulder injury, and it was like, wait a second, can't believe that just happened. But it has taught me a lot. And, I hadn't slowed down since that back injury and had this little shoulder injury creep in, but it has taught me a lot in how to help my clients. So that's how I had to look at it. This is how to help others. So I've had the back thing, I'm going through the shoulder. So it only makes me a better trainer to others. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We always tend to learn a lot more from the experiences and the adversity than like when we're just like the weight goes right up, we press the weight up or we hit the PR. It's the struggles and everything, because you have to kind of troubleshoot or come up with a new strategy. So you talked about, now, you have that discipline and kind of that maturity from your experiences. If you're in a training session and it's not going, something feels off, you just like, it just doesn't seem right. Like maybe you're doing the swing and your hips aren't snapping the way, you normally feel. You won't be afraid to, I guess, either, would you say stop the session or terminate that set and then do a different exercise? Like how do you kind of, adjust on the fly, so to speak?
That's a good question. Look, I used to train 7 days a week. I'll go through my, we hear I used to train 7 days a week, through pain, in pain, you name it. Then I went to starting to work out, maybe 5 days a week. Now, and as we talked about, it's practice. So that's a huge, using that word. I still get caught up sometimes in the training mode because that's just automatic, but using the word practice for me has been huge. And that really I didn't really start using the word practice until, after, August, September of last year. And just changing that little word, has been huge. Because it's practice. It's not working out. I'm not, training. It's practice. Okay. So if my practice isn't going well, all right, well, I stop. Did I do something the day before? Did I not sleep well? Maybe one of the kids was sick or they had something going on, or, my central nervous system did something yesterday. It was probably fried. So I've learned a lot where I used to just push right through, and just get the reps to get the reps. If my training sheet said 5 reps, I was going to get those 5 reps regardless of how I got there. So, that has come a long way for me. Because, I'd be like, oh my gosh, my training sheet says 5 reps. And, it was just in me to compete with myself to get those 5 reps, whether they were good or not. So I look back at that. I'm like, what was I thinking? But that was part of my journey. You have to kind of go through this journey in order to get to where I am now. And it's still a work in progress. Like, where was it? I remember one time on my training sheet, there was some pulls, or maybe it was like 24K times 2. And I got one and I just was not feeling it. The next one, I beat myself up. I can't even tell you. I was like, I didn't get it. I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm not, I had to say, I didn't get this rep. So it was devastating to me. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to actually report to my coach that I didn't get the 1 rep on there. So I, said it, and I, wrote a dissertation of why I felt I didn't get that rep. And he's like, my coach is Joe Sansalone, by the way. He's a senior instructor in Strong First. You'll hear me talk a lot about him because he is part of my journey for 5 years. So, I sent it to him and he responded. He's like, all right, like you didn't get the rep, move on, and I mean, he's very he's like, you didn't get it, just move on. And I was like, it's okay. I didn't get that rep, I mean, it's funny how you're racing against yourself. And obviously it's, all that stuff stems from, well, I have to, make a certain mile time, or I have to, do this, or if I don't get that rep, the world did not end when I didn't get that rep. But, it did change is like, okay, it's okay. Like I'm giving myself permission to be, not feeling it. It's not working out. My body may not be connected, just not, it's not there that day. It's okay. And it was definitely like one of those moments where you're like, breathing. It's okay. It makes, my training sessions, most of the times feel great because I'm, moving well and getting enough sleep. But there, again, there's weeks where it's just not there sometimes. And, you gotta really listen to your body and, let it kind of dictate, because if you try to push through it, it's only frustrating for yourself. You kind of get, you get disappointed. And really it's not the end of the world.
No, it's not. And
yes.
I totally can relate to that.
Yeah. Yeah. We've talked about it. Yeah.
I've been there myself. It's, that point where you're working out 7 days a week, and
yep.
It's funny, because I look at it for myself and then hear you talk about it and some of my, clients and students that I work with. And it's this condition that we're like led to believe that, more is better. And if we're not doing something, or if I'm taking rest, then, I'm giving something up. I'm leaving something on the table. And it's the total opposite, when it comes to training. And, it's definitely taken me a long time to listen to my body. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's exactly like you said, it's that sometimes you got to go through and you experience an injury, and it teaches you, hey, I need to listen.
Right. I always, I used to have no rest days. Right. So I remember my first program where I train basically 3 days a week. And I think people are shocked when they hear that. They're like, you only train 3 days, all right? I'm like, well, actually I practice 3 days a week. But, it's quality practice. It's not, let me, check off the box every day that I trained or I worked out. It's quality practice, which has led me to where I'm able to do these, moves that I really enjoy because of this practice and because of it being quality, versus quantity. I think that's huge. And believe me, I've been through the quantity and it would break me down. Now I'm on the quality 3 days a week, and lo and behold, I feel good. I'm moving well. And, I think that's my formula where I need to be right now. But I remember having my first rest days and I was like, I didn't know what to do with myself. It was like, what is this? Now I'm like, I'm like, rest day.
That's right.
That's right. Rest is best. And I'll see people that I work with and they're not there yet in their journey, and that's okay. They will get there at some point. And I hope that they do. And a lot of people I've seen gone through it, they are stronger now because they're resting, they're getting sleep, and it just is, it's huge.
Oh, who doesn't love sleep? Everybody.
Oh my
loves
gosh.
sleep.
I love sleep. I get very cranky if I'm not in bed by 10, so it's great. It's great stuff. So, I mean, gosh, I can tell. And, I think the other night I didn't sleep well and I was like, I'm not going to train today. You just have to listen to your body. If not, you're going to feel like you have the flu. I always feel like I have the flu. So not worth it.
Yeah. And then that's a great point, because what happens then is you realize, okay, I take today off, but maybe tomorrow I'm ready to go and I'm going to feel really good. And it's the longevity. It's taking it as a lifelong kind of journey rather than looking at it, through a short-term window.
Right. Exactly. And I think people, you get if you take some people, they fear the taking a week off of something and I said, you know what, you're not going to it's actually probably good for your body sometimes to take that rest. I do. I've got a trip coming up that I'm going to enjoy every day off. And it's important to recover. I mean, it's huge. Having deload weeks in your schedule. Which was another part of my journey. I didn't realize that actually happened and how good they were. And every time they come around, I'm so excited. It's like going to Disney. I'm like so excited. I'm like, yes, it's deload.
That's right.
Whereas before I was like ready to like anxiety creeping in. And I see that out of a lot of people, and I'm just hoping that I can set the example for them that it's okay. Like rest, it's gonna, you're gonna come back and you're gonna feel fine. You're not gonna lose anything.
No, that's how you get stronger.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's
how you get stronger.
Exactly.
So, can you talk a little about? I think this would be a great segue. So,
sure.
Talk a little bit about sort of that relationship between when we're training, we have that, the physical aspect, and then we're kind of trying to balance the psychological and mental and emotional aspects as well. And you've kind of touched on some of that already with, we've said you feel like you're giving something up if you're not training 7 days a week, or you're not, completing every set and rep. So, why is it important, one, to not be afraid to adjust on the fly and listen to your body? And two, how is that going to benefit people, I guess, in the long run?
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of times that we see it's the physical. Yes, the physical is there. You have the weights, you have your body weight, you're doing all the physical stuff necessary. You don't realize though how much the emotional and psychological part of the journey, is involved. And especially, in trying to navigate that on your own sometimes is difficult, because, we all have that own self-talk, whether it be positive or negative, and we're always talking, mindset is huge. But it doesn't happen overnight. I recently, I went through the Iron Maiden training, and
could you just tell everybody what is the Iron Maiden in case they don't know?
Oh, sure. So the Iron Maiden is is done at a Strong First event. It is, for women, we are pulling up the 24K kilo, bell, which is 53 pounds, pistoling the, 24K kilo, bell, and pressing the 24K kilo bell, and it is done at a Strong First event. So I was lucky enough to achieve it. I was the 9th woman in our industry to do that. So it was very exciting. It was in Boston under Master Phil Scarito. which you were there. So it was great.
I saw that.
Yeah, it was a great experience for me. Physically, it was a great journey. And emotionally too, it was a great journey. Good and bad, I would say. I wouldn't say 100%. I'll give you the honest, really truthful thing going through it was I was so, after my level 2, I was like, I'm doing the Iron Maiden. I'm going to do it. It was another outcome for me to, okay, this is what I'm going to do. My coach, Joe Sansloan, I've been with him for 5 years for training. And I, said, okay, I want to train for the Iron Maiden. He goes, all right, let's make sure you're moving well first. So I was like, what? I was like, I want to do a pistol. And he's like, great. Let's see if you can do, a single leg squat. I'm like, so I mean, he would always like, okay, here's what you need to do, and I'm going to get you there. And if you're ready for the Iron Maiden, great. But he would never, which was unbelievable. Like I look back at it now and he would never say it's the Iron Maiden training. He said, it's your process and what you're going through and your journey. And if, you've reached that journey, you're there and great. Like, you're ready for it. But he would never attach it to the Iron Maiden. Where I, as the, person training for it, I was so hyper focused on it. It was, Boston, August. Assisting was definitely, I was so excited to do that. And going for the Iron Maiden was another piece of it. And there was I was, every time I go to see my coach, I would say, all right, let's do the 3 moves. I want to do those 3 moves, like every time, and he's like, we don't need to do this. Let's see where you are on your, single leg squats. I'm like, oh, like I just want to do, this. And then he'd be like, well, why do you don't need to do that every time. But emotionally for me, it was like, I have to do this because I signed up for it. I'm doing the Iron Maiden and this is what I need to do. And, there'd be times that I'd be in his office crying, because it was so overwhelming to me to, you go through the stuff. I can't do this. I'm looking at all the other women that achieved this. And I had the, like, what gives me the like saying that I can do this. And I'm sure a lot of people that are training for the Iron Maiden right now feel that way. It's like, it's okay to say I can try to train for something like this. At the time, I almost didn't feel worthy enough to train for it. And that saying that, I tell my kids, I say, you can do anything you want. Well, it wasn't that did not resonate with myself. Because I was scared about it. I had to perform in front of people, which I've done before, during races and, University of Richmond, Duke University, like in front of Penn relays, I've done that before, but it was something different for me. Kind of just going through the, can I do this? Am I worthy enough to be in this group of women? Whereas if I look at it now and I look at the whole, and so it was again, I had negative self-talk. I had, okay, no, I'm going to be positive about it. Whoa, back to negative, so we go back and forth. And, and I'm sure that there are women out there who are training for the Iron Maiden, or training for something else, and they're going through the same thing. And I think it's a hidden thing that I think if you look at really the only time when they put the pictures up of people, doing these events, and you don't see what the background is and what people are going through. And, you can't and I said, finally, I was like, after the fact, it was a great experience. I went back, I did it but at the time it took it was a struggle. It was a struggle of, no, I can't do this. What am I thinking? I went through that probably on a every 2-week basis. I can't, I'm not as strong as they are, and I know, I guarantee you many people in our industry and all over say, and I hear it from people in my classes, like, I can't press that weight. I can't do that. It's a complete, always like the negative self-talk. And it's a hard thing you get in that cycle, and it's like, it's a downward spiral. And that's what big part of my experience was being coached. Because had not had those, my coach sitting there, like, I'm just like, I don't think I can do this. And he, talked me through it. And I look at it too, like, if you don't have those people in your life to kind of rein you in, settle you down and, talk about, what are the things that are bothering you? What, and it wouldn't be like, not physical, emotionally, like, I'd be like, I have 3 kids. I'm busy. How am I going to design a Meehan? And he, would rein me in. Like, all right, it's okay. Get some rest. Take a couple days off. You don't have to do it. If you want to do it, you're strong enough to do it. But it's not, the world's not going to end if you don't do it, and so it took, it was definitely a couple years of journey of being able to be okay with, I can try this. And if I go for it, just going for that is great. Going to, a certification is great. Attempting something like that, I would say when my ladies pick up a bell and they are able to press because they're moving well, attempting that and just getting rid of the negative self-talk that we tend to, have for ourselves. So it was, the emotional aspect of it too is, I was talking to you too about, I created this huge ceiling over my head. And, I became married to that 24K bell. Right. That was it. That's what I would go into and again, being honest, I started to hate that bell, like look at it and be like, oh, the 24K, it was becoming my, like, I would say, just becoming something I was not enjoying, until I started to basically, my coach said, just train, have fun, enjoy the process, and once we had that talk of enjoying it, and I took that ceiling off of the 24 was no longer stopping me. So once I took that ceiling of, I am going to train just to train and work on this stuff. And after I did that, I went beyond the 24. Okay. And it was huge. It was like this, it was like, I could see the light. It was like, oh my gosh, I took the ceiling off and now I'm going above and beyond what I thought I could do. So creating that ceiling for me was, I did it to myself. And, it wasn't like, I think people were, well, was it the Iron Maiden? No, it wasn't the Iron Maiden. It was me creating it. And then taking it off was like a huge relief, and being able to train to just, beyond what I thought I could just do was amazing to me. So that was a huge part of my journey. And that's when I stopped like being negative. So I was like, I am going to do this thing. So yeah, it was huge. It was huge.
Breaking down barriers.
It was. And again, like I say, I just, it was a physical and emotional journey that I could not have gotten through without a coach, to help me guide me through. It's like, again, seeing the trees through the forest. You need somebody to, help you see the trees through the forest. Whether it's a coach, whether it's a fellow, strength, coach or friend or somebody in this industry. And, I'll speak for, Strong First. Immediately you find a group of people that are supportive of you and yet you just met. It really is an incredible group of people that you surround yourself with. And, there are a lot of people that, I surround myself with that just help me through that. And, and still to this day, they're always, they will stop what they're doing and talk to you and, just help you through and guide you to, whether physical or emotional, to where you need to be. So.
Yeah, absolutely. The community aspect is second to none. That's one of the things I love about the Strong First community. Mm-hmm. So can you share, you actually, you just posted, I saw on Instagram before we did the interview.
I'm finally learning how to do Instagram.
Nice. Yes. You just hit a PR, not your all-time max PR, but you hit multiple reps, 28 kilogram bell times 3 reps. And then, and why don't you share that and then your max, PR?
Just recently in my practice this week, I was able to pull the, 28K kilo bell for 3 reps. And my max pull is 36K. Yeah. So it's been going well. I mean, it's exciting.
You're crushing it.
Yeah, man. I love it.
I saw that. I love that. That was a great.
See what happens when you take that ceiling off?
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's why I brought it up, because that's a great, you had that barrier and you busted through it. It was so cool to see that in person, like day one at the certification. In August. That was the energy in the room then was it was electric. It was really cool to be there for that. So it was awesome. And then, today you, or I guess, was it today or earlier this week, you just hit the 3 reps with the 28K?
It was Monday. It was Monday I did it.
Nice.
It was great. Again, had some good sleep and, worked on my, my human movement patterns prior to, and, it worked out well. But again, I've learned, actually after I saw Joe on Thursday, basically, not training for anything, at the moment. And that's part of my practice right now. So, hey, I'll take it.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's really cool though, because sometimes it's okay to just enjoy the process and the practice and not be focused on the outcome. Cause like I'm very much the same way. You'll look at it and you're like, well, if I don't get this, like this is going to be something that defines me. Like in our mind, we think that, and it's good to just sort of enjoy the process and let it just kind of organically happen.
Right.
And if we're consistent and steady and we're healthy, the results will come.
Right. Yeah. It definitely, I think it just came to basically on Thursday, I looked at myself like, I'm definitely not, there's nothing down the pipe. And if there's stuff comes along, great, that happens right now. But I think this is probably the first time in 20 plus years that I'm just enjoying the process. So it's a little scary. It definitely is it's not I'm not going to, it's out of my comfort zone a little bit, to kind of have that open ceiling, I would say, but, it's again, I'm sure I'm going to love it. Just like I went from working out 7 days a week to practicing 3. I'm sure it's going to be this is great,
No,
and,
awesome.
Yeah. So it's definitely, definitely out of my comfort zone, but it's definitely going to be a good thing for being out of my comfort zone. And, it'll be good. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see what I can work on. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, for sure. I know we'll be chatting. You're going to keep me posted and stuff. And as I share with you.
Of course. Yes.
Cool. So can you talk a little bit about, obviously, you have your business, Alexandria Kettlebell, your mom, you have 3 kids.
Yes.
So how in the heck do you balance all of that? Cause I'm sure that is a great, point of view perspective that people want to know, because clearly you're strong, you're healthy, you're hitting some awesome PRs for yourself, and you're training currently 3 days a week. So, where's the secret sauce? How do you do it?
Right. Right. I know. Right. Yeah. You don't want to see my house right now. Yeah, I get it's so funny because people will say like, what the heck? Like, how are you doing that? You know? Again, it has been a journey of figuring out the balance of it all. I have I am like so lucky to have a very supportive family, around me. I have 3 kids. Michael is going to be 12. Bobby just turned 9 and Colleen is 5. My husband, Joe, my parents live about a mile away. They also have a place in Massachusetts. And they are 100% supportive of everything I do. So if, I need to work on my practice, I work on my practice and my husband takes over, with the kiddos. I say it takes a village to help somebody, to help my practice.
I like that. It's a good
it
quote.
does. It takes a village to help me, my practice. My kids are very supportive of me. They're funny. I laugh because even after doing the Iron Maiden, I go back to being a mom. Like, there's not like this, like, I don't walk around like, hey, I'm the Iron Maiden. It's like, hey mom, how was your weekend? Great. Anything so it's good. And, it does. It takes some balance. I work with I love my job. Like I don't even call it a job. It's just something I get to do, and I'm lucky I get to do it. And, I really am grateful for the people that, decide to train with us. I have a great partner, Kate Lavanga, who, we support each other in our business together. We're both moms. And so we're like yin to the yang. Like if I'm busy with something, she'll pick up the slack and vice versa. So we do that. And, I make it a point to, I work 3 days a week. I definitely quote unquote work hard, to, help people. And it's part of my schedule, part of my village, part of my, life. And, it's part of the balance of my life. I think if I took it out, I'd, think, everything would crumble, because it's really just, it's part of our family. Our kids know what, my kids starting at age 1 know what a kettlebell is, or,
That's awesome.
Or pull-ups, or, and I said, my kids do a lot of sports and stuff, and it's, just instilling in them that having fun. I mean, basically I tell them, I said, I have fun at this, and this is, I wouldn't do this if I didn't have fun. And I think that's a big part of it. If this wasn't fun for me, I get excited to work on my practice. Like I don't dread it. I get so excited, to work on it. I'm not like, I'm going to do pull-ups today. Like, it's like, I am lucky enough to be able to do pull-ups today. All right. So I feel that, that's part of the balance too. You got to love what you do. And, again, have it, some of the stuff like, my laundry might be a couple days late, but hey, that's all right. So it's definitely a balance. And again, I look at it too. I found it like when I was training 7 days a week, that was more taxing on my family than it is now. So when I was training or working out 7 days a week, going to the gym, it was like, I was making, that more of a priority than trying to balance everything else. And now, my family's always first, in the priority, but because, hey, I'm 3 days a week, I can find 3 days a week to work on my practice. 7, maybe not so much. Yeah. So it's part of the balance, and that's how I balance it. And you know what? Again, we talked about like if something comes up, that's life. At this point, this is where I am in my life. And it's so far I've been consistent, and I think that's huge, being consistent. No matter what, is important. Part of the piece of staying balanced. But being okay with having detours, and that's, something that is a work in progress. Being okay to be derailed a little bit and learning how to deal with that.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's taken the long-term view, because
Right.
there's always going to be the setbacks, regressions, nicks, bumps, bruises, injuries that pop up and stuff, and got to stay steady and consistent.
Yep.
And that's so important, because it's not it's not that like great workout where you get the PR or have like a great training session. It's just continuously refining it over and over and over the course of, days, months, years, that, then it becomes a very smooth, fluid, practice.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Cool. So I got some fun rapid fire questions for you.
All right. I'm ready.
Cool.
You're going to ask me what my favorite food is?
No, but we can. We should. Yeah.
It's pizza. It's carb day, right?
Oh, I love it. Yeah, that's right. Pizza. Any plain cheese, or is there toppings?
Oh, it's like meat lovers. Yeah.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. There you go.
Meat lovers.
Awesome. Okay. So what advice would you give yourself 10 years ago? So if you could go back in time, all your experience, your knowledge, and you could talk to yourself 10 years ago, what would you say to Jen Meehan 10 years ago?
What would I say to Jen Meehan?
Yeah.
I would say settle down and enjoy the process. Get a coach. That would be my number one advice to people. And I think, we hear this at, anytime you hear it, like when you hear a lot of certifications, get a coach. I mean, that they're not just saying that to say it. It's like, use that advice. Whether it's a coach that you met, like, you're, or just somebody to talk to about what you're doing, is huge. Bouncing that off. I would have definitely got a coach, 10 years ago had I known, that I need to work on my movement. I didn't think I did, because I was working out 2 times a day, times 7 days a week. Yeah, I would, I want those hours back. So if I go back 10 years, I want those hours back that I, wasted.
That's great.
Yeah, like I would like those, give me those hours back. That's where I'm going. So
nice.
But definitely, enjoy the process and learn from it. And it's just, that's, I would definitely enjoy it more than making it, I used to say my training used to feel like I would dread it. And now I'm like, I get so excited. I'm like, oh, it's my practice. Yeah.
That's how it should be.
Yes. I love it.
So, you've pretty much talked about this the entire time, but how's your training changed today compared to 10 years ago? So are you still, I guess another part of that question is, are you still doing endurance work, or are you focused more on the strength side of things?
Good question. The cardio, I guess, we would say I am definitely not, I do a lot more strength work now, which again was a huge shift for me. I used to call me like cardio queen. I'd be like, woo, like run and, do elliptical and do all that stuff. Not that it's, I'm not saying that it was just the time. That was what I loved to do. Even with kettlebells, I used to do a lot of swings and, stuff like that. I do, a lot of people, is kettlebell training strength and cardio? Yeah, well, yes, it is. But I definitely do more strength, work. And that's a decision that I made based on my training. Doesn't mean that, somebody wants to do that. But as and people may not know this, I had to, even when I started focusing my training more on, working towards getting, lifting heavier weights, I did have to cut back on my endurance, because I felt awful, trying to manage both. But I look back now and I mean, running was my only, end all be all. And I look back and, we played a game of, capture the flag, last weekend, and I realized how much I didn't miss it. We were sprinting. Okay. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't miss, this type of It was fun. It was fun training for life. Right there. We were, against a group of third grade boys, so they kicked our butts. But, yeah, I'm still a little sore from it. My hamstrings are killing me. But again, it's something I can go out and do now and be like, hey, whatever. But, definitely I'm focused more on the strength aspect of, my practice right now.
Okay, cool. So what is your favorite strength training exercise?
Oh, you got to know this.
I'm going to say
pull-up.
the pull-up. That was my guess. Is the pull-up because we spent a lot of time talking about it.
So I absolutely love pull-ups.
Why? Why though?
Oh my God, I love them. I get on that bar and you'll see, like, if you ever see videos, I'm very methodical about it. It's like I touch the bar and I'm just like, it's like I love it. It's pretty funny. So I'm like, oh, I love it. It is pretty funny. I look at it, I'm like, man, it's like a baseball player who does a certain, rituals. You'll see me on the pull-up bar doing certain rituals with the pull-up. It is kind of funny as I look through the years. I love pull-ups because pull-ups for me were a journey. I started with not being able to even hang on the bar without it was hard. So I went from going to, 0 pull-ups to, so how many years? 5 years it's been, to being able to pull, my PR of 36K. So that journey, the pull-up journey has been huge. I just feel like it's overall an awesome exercise. I can do body weight. I can do it, there's a pair of stairs there. I can hang up, do it wherever I can. I feel, connected on the pull-up. It's hard to, that is the one exercise that over the years I have felt different stages of, being not connected. And, I feel when I'm on the pull-up bar, it is like I am put together exactly how I should be. So it's like, I call it, it's like the perfect storm. It's just, I get on that bar and I feel like I am connected. And it's just it's my favorite exercise, to do. So I'm in love with it, actually.
Nice. I can tell. I can see.
It's you'll see. I love my pull-up bar. So
awesome. Okay. So what is one piece of advice or one thing high school athletes should be doing more of to complement their training and their health? So youth athletics.
Oh yeah. Youth athletics, definitely. I think, movement, being able to, like we said, parts of the get up, being able to roll over, functional stuff. I'm seeing a lot of athletes nowadays, burpees and adding weight too soon. And, they just need to be able to, honestly go out and play. Go out and play for the younger group, elementary. And as they start getting older, working on their movement patterns. If they don't have the movement patterns necessary, it's just, again, they're going to be putting, dysfunction on top of it. They're just going to keep piling on. And as we know, as it adds up, all right, it's going to, catch up with you. So starting that early, on is going to help them in the long run, even though I think a lot of us see it as, you see kids are, lifting weights, and which they should. But what do they have to have first is the human movement patterns that, we all need to, and move well. They need to be able to move well, in order to move forward.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. So important there. You got to have all that foundation underneath before you add anything on top of it.
Exactly.
So, what is your best piece of advice to help improve recovery from a training session?
So recovery. The best thing is have a day off. Have a day off after you train. Eat well, get some sleep. It's basic. I mean, the basics are the best, I feel. a lot of people, do you take salt bath? I recover, I rest, I, eat a good meal. If I'm ready to train the following day and I'm still off, then another rest day, for me, until I'm better. Yeah. So I've learned a lot, like rest is huge. You don't realize it until it's one of the, for some people it may not be easy to get rest, especially if you're a new mother or, working late or, working odd hours. But it is huge for, I feel like, a lot of people, recovery. It's just your body needs to recover from putting that stress on it, the day before. So rest is best.
Yeah, totally. It's so important. And going back to what you said earlier in the show is that it's that cumulative, you have the physical, the psychological, and then there's the chemical or the hormonal, right? So you have all these different stresses that are coming into the body. And we tend to always think of just what we did when we exercised, not necessarily the other ones that play a huge, huge factor into recovery.
Right. And I always say the lack of sleep, that's when that negative self-talk comes in too.
Oh yeah.
The lack of sleep going on.
Totally. Okay. What is one book everybody should read?
One book everybody should read. I am, only one, right?
You can do two. I don't mind.
Gosh,
go ahead. Go for it.
I have a few. Book wise, let's see. Gosh, I have so many. All right. Let me think. Funny to say, I just actually pulled out my, movement book by, Gray Cook, the FMS, book. It's funny. It's been sitting on my shelf upstairs and I've read it 3 times. And I'm going back to it again. I think a lot of times I go through, I look at it, it's kind of where, if I'm going through something like, some issues or, an injury, I go back to these books that are going to kind of just rehash and, reaffirm why I'm doing what I'm doing. So I love that. I actually just pulled out my, SFB manual, and I'm looking at that. Again, it is a book. It's like, any of those things are the, Bibles. And I just ordered, which I'm looking forward to reading, is the Mindset. I just ordered that off of Amazon, to read. What's that? It's called Mindset. Yeah. So, I want to read that as well. So yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
Okay. Well, this has been a blast.
Yes, it has.
Thank you very much for coming on, sharing your experiences and your journey. I definitely know everybody will benefit highly from everything that you've been so gracious to share today.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So hang on the line.
All right.
We'll wrap up and I'll give you a proper goodbye and stuff.
Awesome.
Thank you for tuning in and listening to this episode of the Leo Training Podcast. If you enjoyed the content, please take a moment, head on over to iTunes and drop a review. Be sure to tune in for our next episode as we continue our Mother's Day mini-series. Our next guest will be world champion rower Lila Finska-Lena.
Thanks for listening to the Leo Training Podcast. Subscribe and get even more expert training tips at www.leotraining.io.